Hi, how you going? So today I thought I'd show you some of the books that I like to look at when I'm lacking creativity. So I'll link to each of these books in the description if you wanted to pick up a copy. If you use my link, I do get a little bit of money from the affiliate link, so that would be really nice if you could do that. So thank you very much. So the first couple I've got are by Brendan Leonard. Brendan Leonard runs an amazing website called Semirad, and I really like his stuff. He's a writer, he's an adventurer, he's a runner. He's also just a creative, and he writes about adventuring, but he also just writes about the creative process and just how he goes about it. And he's been a working writer for a long time, so these books sort of show his process and what helped him. Firstly, we have the book Make It, 50 Myths and Truths About Creating, which is his most recent book. And they're each just sort of nice messages to help you along your creative journey. So I'll just flick to a random one. Nobody is going to magically bestow the title of artist on you someday. You're an artist if you say you're an artist. Start with what you know. It's okay to imitate others' work up to a point, which is very YouTube, and you're not going to run out of ideas. So there's 50 of those things in there, and I just really like that book. I think it's great. The other one is Make It Till You Make It, and again, it's just got 40 nice, simple messages to help you sort of see the creative process and get rid of some of the blockers that might be there for your creative journey. So, like just flicking to a random one here, it's not about the camera or the moleskin. So it's about, you don't need the next piece of gear in order to create what you want to create. You can do it with the gear you've already got. And yeah, I just like simple messages like that. You are going to get rejected. You will probably suck at first. Don't take criticism personally. So they're all just really good messages, and I really like his writing style, and he seems like a good bloke as well. So that's Brendan Leonard's two books, Make It and Make It Till You Make It. The next is 3 books by Austin Kleon, and I've previously done a video using some of his ideas, and I'll link it up there. So these 3 books are Keep Going, Show Your Work, and Steal Like an Artist. I just really like these. They're, again, simple messages from someone who makes a living as a creative about what their process is and what helps them when they get stuck. I highly recommend these books. They're simple. I read them over and over again, and I turn to them whenever I need creativity sometimes. The next book I have is Things Are What You Make of Them by Adam J. Kurtz, and we saw Adam give a talk in Melbourne one time, and it, again, really inspirational. He makes a living creating things, and it is just lots of simple tips and tricks like the other books. The really interesting thing is, while there is some crossover with these books, they each bring their own perspective and their own ideas, and there are lots of new ideas in each of these books. And again, this is a book I've read a bunch of times. I bought it when we saw him, and yeah, I really enjoy it. This has sort of tips on the creative process and being creative, but it also has practical tips on how to get things into production quicker and all of that type of stuff. Another really good book that I really enjoy just flipping through every now and then. You flip to a random page and you get a cool message. This one, How to Keep Going. It will be hard. Be true to yourself. Adapt and change. Be resourceful. Redefine success. Raise each other up. Create and preserve space. And don't ever stop. And it's just full of simple messages like that they're just nice books. I really like these. The next book I have is one I read a long time ago. It came out in 2008, and I read it around then, and I liked the ideas in it. It's called The Pirate's Dilemma by Matt Mason, and it gives lots of stories about people who have not waited for someone to come along and tell them that their work's great, or to give them the opportunity. They've created the opportunity themselves. It goes into the pirate radio stations, it goes into fashion labels, record labels, music. And this was pre the internet really taking over, but it shows what's possible without the resources that we have now. And we have so many resources now. I just really like this. It's really nicely written, it's really well told, and it's inspirational. And the last book I have is not a book on creativity. It doesn't have the tips and tricks of these or stories about creative people. It's my favourite book. I read this a long time ago. I picked it up in a secondhand store and then bought the sequel and the sequel and the sequel and the sequel. It is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. There is something so amazing about this book and the language and the way Douglas Adams wrote that I have genuinely read this book 20 times, and I've read the sequels a whole bunch of times as well. There's now 5 that Douglas Adams wrote, and the 5th was the the fifth book in the increasingly inaccurately named Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy. And it's just use of language like that that really sort of gets your brain ticking. And there's a really famous one of his sentences that you might have heard. It's, the ships hung in the sky in much the same way that bricks don't. And it's just language like that that, yeah, really gets you thinking and sort of shows you can step outside what is the normal kind of use of language and the normal way to tell a story to create something truly amazing. So that's some books that I turn to when I feel like I'm lacking in creativity. These are the books that I turn to. You may have your own list. You might want to create your own list now and sort of scour your bookshelves or your brain or your memory and just see what it is that's inspired you in the past and whether dipping back into that might inspire you in the future. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you've got any questions about any of these books, or if you've got any recommendations of similar books or similar ideas or books that you think might help me in my creative process. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Bye.